The headlines: the Australian government launched its $402 million Solomon investment in off-grid renewable energy program Renew Pacific in Honiara. UK looks to deepen its ties with Commonwealth countries amidst the United States foreign aid program's withdrawal. And Korea and UNICEF launched a $58.3 million Solomon project aimed at strengthening climate resilience and social services for Guadalcanal province. Hello, you're watching a SIBC's TV News Bulletin. I'm Eliza Kukutu. The Australian government has launched a $402 million Solomon investment in off-grid renewable energy program, the Renew Pacific, aimed at enhancing energy security and driving climate-resilient development in remote communities across Solomon Islands. Yan Kaukui reports.
The Australian government launched its $402 million Solomon investment in off-grid renewable energy program, Renew Pacific, in Honiara on Monday. The program aims to support communities in the Pacific and Timor-Leste by improving energy security and driving climate-resilient development in remote communities. Speaking during the launching, Australian High Commissioner to Solomon Islands, His Excellency Rod Hilton, announced the Phase 3 education and health institutions in the country which will be benefiting from the program.
First, me proud to mas for announcing first three fella projects under Low Renew Pacific. Again, Low Solomon Islands. One fella $12 million partnership, Melawan Government Blow Australia and local renewable energy company Superfly, whereby delivering three fella solar off-grid systems long Sir Dudley Tuti College, Low Isabel Province, Atoifi Adventist Hospital, Low Malaita Province, and Goldie College, Low Western Province. Atoifi Adventist Hospital by Garum uninterrupted power supply for emergency rooms, maternity wards, and medical refrigerator, whereby improving health outcome for over 80,000 people west up inside Long East Malaita. Long Goldie College and Sir Dudley Tuti College solar hybrid systems by giving college power for providing lights long dormitory, making Orketa students stuck low safely, Orketa students by Save Garum long study hours, and by him improving access low digital learning for more than 1,400 students. This one by him allow him two fellow schools and a Toifi hospital, for meeting Nara expenses of some hospital services, student resources and infrastructure upgrades. Projects by eliminating over 66,000 litres low diesel consumption and save him 200 tonnes of CO2 emission per year, long same time supporting Solomon Islands for Move Go Low renewable energy.
Meanwhile, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Mines, Energy and Rural Electrification, Bradley Tovosia, thanked Australia for its assistance in developing the country's energy sector.
Me just like to thank him, the Australian government for the $75 million investment. It's more than just a financial commitment. It is a strategic partnership between the Australian government and the past minister, including Somalia. So we will enjoy this. That will make a strong feeling. We will enjoy this time this program come. The program aligns well with the national targets to expand rural electrification, promote renewable energy solutions, and enhance climate resilience. By leveraging this initiative, we will accelerate progress towards the goals set in a renewable energy roadmap and contribute to achieving 100% renewable energy to 2050. As we embark on this 5-year journey, collaboration remains a key. The success of Renew Pacific will depend on the partnership we foster with the government agencies, the private sector who are here this afternoon attending to, the non-government organization, the community stakeholders. Through this partnership, we will implement off-grid and standalone renewable energy projects that directly address the needs of our undeserved rural and remote communities. This approach supports and our targets of expanding rural electrification by 30% in 2030, ensuring the essential services such as schools and health centers have reliable energy access.
Jan Kaukui, SIBC TV.
The United Kingdom looks to deepen its ties with the Commonwealth countries amidst the United States foreign aid program's withdrawal and also its withdrawal from major United Nations agreements. British High Commissioner to Solomon Islands, His Excellency Paul Turner, told local media during the embassy's press conference yesterday. Mr. Turner says the UK has never left the Solomon Islands and the Pacific region. He said given its shared history and values within the Pacific region, the region is an important partner and a friend of the UK.
We decided to strengthen our engagement in this area. I mean, we've always had a mission here for many, many years. We didn't close and then come back. But I think there was a series of reasons. I think that, first of all, there was a desire, and I think it was right, by Boris Johnson's government to strengthen links with the Commonwealth countries, where we didn't have a mission to have one, and where we had an existing mission to strengthen it, like here. So there was genuinely that we should have missions as much as we can in all the Commonwealth countries. Plus, I think we feel that we want to... You have many shared values and outlooks that we have. We have a shared history, language, and I think outlooks and values. I already mentioned your media, the free media you have. And we felt that there always could be a danger of that coming under threat. So we wanted to help strengthen that. We want to help strengthen those democratic structures.
His Excellency Turner adds the U.S. aid freeze is concerning as its current stand and foreign policy moves will impact the global multilateral system.
Yeah, I mean, we wish it wasn't happening. I mean, I think my main worry there is not so much the US bilateral program, but the US contribution to the multilateral system. I mean, I said we're a big contributor to Gavi. We are. But the Americans are giving a huge amount to that. Us and the Americans together, it's a huge amount. That is a worry, yeah. It's outside my scope to influence Donald Trump, but what we can say is, the pause, apparently it's a 90-day pause. I think some projects, like, for example, the unexploded ordnance, that is continuing now with Halo Trust. So that's good. Some of the Second World War debris, some of the programs are continuing in some areas. I know some of the health programs will be, I think, but yeah, not all of them. And what we can do, as best we can, we're trying to work with our American colleagues to see what can be distributed between other donors. But the problem is we also have our own pressures, which are linked to the broader global politics that are going on in terms of, needing to increase defense spending and things like that.
The government of Korea and UNICEF has launched a $58.3 million Solomon dollars project in Honiara aimed at boosting climate resilience and social services in Guadalcanal province. Mary Manelegua with the details.
The government of Korea and UNICEF launched a $58.3 million Solomon dollars project aimed at strengthening climate resilient and social services for Guadalcanal province in Honiara yesterday. The initiative signifies a collaborative commitment to enhancing the well-being of communities facing the growing challenges of climate change. In his remarks, UNICEF Pacific representative Jonathan Veit says the partnership will strengthen the country's resilience to climate threats through the development of child-focused and climate-responsive infrastructures.
This partnership will strengthen the country's resilience to climate threats through the development of child-focused and climate-responsive social infrastructure, systems, policies and funding over the next few years in the Guadalcanal province. If we get it right in Guadalcanal, we'll persuade them to do it in the rest of the country. So we don't want it to be a pilot, we want it to be the start of something bigger. The Solomon Islands has already made considerable progress in terms of promoting resilience and reducing vulnerability. This includes the National Climate Change Policy, Your Ocean Policy, development of SOPs for planned relocation, a national renewable energy roadmap, and a low emissions strategy. This new partnership will enhance school and health infrastructure to withstand climate shocks, operate with low-carbon solar panels, and access quality wash services, which will also be available at the household level.
Meanwhile, Guadalcanal Provincial Premier Willie Atu thanked UNICEF and Korea for the project.
As the current Premier and the political leader of Guadalcanal Province, I would like to sincerely thank UNICEF and Quaker in this partnership, in helping us to achieve our strategy on policy change, our strategy on climate change, and at the same time addressing 7 of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, which was stipulated in our policy. UNICEF and Quaker Climate Social Services Program, Guadalcanal Province is very happy to partner with you in your interventions that will help us in achieving our policy.
Mary Manilegua, SIBC TV.
World Wildlife Day marked in Honiara under the theme Wildlife Conservation Finance, Investing in People and Planet. In his remarks to mark the International Day, Minister of Environment, Climate Change, Disaster Management and Meteorology, Honorable Trevor Mahaga, said this year's theme reinforces that protecting nature is not just an environmental imperative, but also an investment for the future generation.
The theme reminds us that protecting nature is not just an environmental imperative. It is an investment in our shared future. The theme aligned with Target 19 of the Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework that talks about exploring and mobilizing finances from all sources, both international and domestic, public and private, to implement biodiversity strategies and action plans. As the Minister responsible for biodiversity conservation programs, I am committed to ensuring that the requirement and obligation under CBD framework, national biodiversity policies and action plans are implemented. Having said that, I would like to encourage relevant government agencies, business houses, development partners, NGOs, civil society groups and individuals to join me on this World Wildlife Day to partner, to reflect on the theme and take actions to promote wildlife conservation and allocate resources to support those that take lead in biodiversity conservation initiatives.
Honorable Mahaga said the ministry is currently working on its regulations and action plans aimed at protecting the country's biodiversity.
These are the development of regulations, policies and action plans. To name a few, they are Solomon Islands National Plan of Action for Turtles 2023 to 2027. The Solomon Islands Saltwater Crocodile Conservation and Management Plan 2023 and 2027. Species Action Plan for Endangered Santa Cruz Ground Owl. Establishments of Trust Fund Regulation to support protected areas programs. This is under development. Single-use plastic ban regulations 2024. This is not only to reduce plastic waste in our environment, but also to prevent greater impacts on marine life that ingested the plastic waste floating in the ocean.
Tuna caught through IUU fishing in the waters of FFA member countries has dropped by a third over the past decade thanks to improved monitoring and technological advancements. A 2016 report estimated that the direct economic loss to FFA members from illegal, unreported and unregulated fishing was about $150 annually. Sharon now with more on this story.
Tuna caught by illegal, unreported and unregulated IUU fishing within the Forum Fishery Agency, FFA member countries' sea has reduced by 1/3 over the past decade. FFA Director Fisheries Operations Arlene Raharyu announced during the Honiara Summit on SDG 14.4, Achieving Sustainable Fisheries. He said the reduction in the estimate was mainly due to increased monitoring undertaken by the FFA members and advances in technological developments.
The study did highlighted one key area of significance to the region, and that is IUU estimates continue to be dominated by authorized or licensed vessels who engaged in unreported fishing. So this is a key finding and has shaped some of the strategies the region has taken to address IUU fishing. The focus is on unreported fishing. Unlicensed fishing remains an issue, but in the margins of the region. So mainly incursions of small-scale Southeast vessels incursioning into the EEZs that are adjacent to Southeast Asian countries, Indonesia, Philippines, and so forth.
Mr. Rahari said cooperation between FFA member countries remains vital when addressing the issue of IUU fishing.
Cooperation works, and I cannot stress this any further. This has been stressed quite extensively during the course of the summit. Existing cooperative regional MCS measures have impacted on the nature and the scale of IUU fishing in our region. Strong collaboration and cooperation among our members and key partners have been the cornerstone of our success in the region in terms of combating IUU fishing.
FFA members' exclusive economic zone areas make up approximately 30.5 million square kilometers, and that accounts for over 20% of the world's exclusive economic zone. Sharon Nanel, SIBC TV.
The British High Commissioner to Solomon Islands and Nauru, His Excellency Paul Turner, said the UK will not intervene in Solomon Islands government position on geopolitical issues. His Excellency Turner made the statement in response to questions raised on the UK's position on the geopolitics fights in the country. He said they, however, will continue to support the country, preserve its democratic institutions to ensure the country's democratic system serves Solomon Islanders' best interests.
Our position on that is that we're not going to intervene in what the sovereign government of the Solomons chooses to do. Absolutely not. What we will do, though, is that we will preserve the institutions that you have and make sure they work well. And that is the reason I'm here. So whilst we feel that people want us here to work with the media, to work with the Parliament, to work on making public finance more efficient, we'll be here. The geopolitics, you're right, that's a sovereign decision of your government, and it's a democratic government, and they will argue that out. We are here to preserve, I think, the excellent institutions you have, and to make you as media inquisitive and...
Now, limited resources and manpower are hindering the enforcement of the Wildlife Protection and Management Act in the Solomon Islands, as illegal selling and harvesting of wildlife species continue to threaten the country's biodiversity. Sharon now reports.
Compliance and enforcement of the Wildlife Protection and Management Act in relation to illegal selling and harvesting of wildlife species remains a challenge for Solomon Islands. Senior Conservation Officer, Wildlife, Environment and Conservation Division, Luke Mai, says proper monitoring across the country's 9 provinces remains a challenge given the limited human resources available to them.
Mifala longo division mifala garem several weaknesses lo dia number 2, especially lo compliance enforcement things mifala sometimes garem several weaknesses too. One is the limited staff that mifala garem. So hemi little bit hard for monitoring now. 9 fala province that garem because mifala no garem na din offices that I'm still on 9 provinces. We cannot monitor because the office also do not have the resources where hemi support him now every time monitoring for Godum lot provinces. That's about the weaknesses.
Mr. Mai adds the current Wildlife Protection and Management Act focuses more on the international market, illegal selling and harvesting of wildlife species. He says there is little they can do when it comes to selling and harvesting of wildlife species domestically.
In addition to that, we also like to highlight him that law current legislation that in Garim, that is the Wildlife Protection and Management Act here, we are more focused on the international trade here. That is why we a little bit give him some gaps where currently the division is working on filling the gap. That is for Hanabim address him. Or the people where Ota Selemna Igulo point crucia. Selem Ota Kurkurulo point crucia. Hanabim address him. Mifal cannot just get up, call the police and go home water. Everything must be provided by the national law. So our current act more focused on international regulating the international wildlife trade, which is something that the division is working on to address that fella needed challenge. The gap in the legislation where him currently.
Sharon Nanal, SIBC TV.
The reviewed and updated National Biodiversity Strategic Action Plan is expected to be launched in September this year. Minister of Environment, Climate Change, Disaster Management and Meteorology, Honorable Trevor Mahaga announced this when delivering his remarks to mark the World Wildlife Day. He said the national policy document provides directions for the country's biodiversity protection work.
One of major documents my ministry currently engaged on its development is the review and update of the elevation of National Biodiversity Strategic Action Plan. This is a national policy document that provides directions for national biodiversity protection, conservation and management actions. It is expected to be launched in the coming September. In addition, other duties and responsibilities delivered by my ministry includes regulation of wildlife trade, support protected areas programs, regulate developers, waste management and pollution control.
Now, the lack of resources remains a challenge in monitoring and controlling the country's exclusive economic zones. Deputy Director at the Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources, Charlene Golu, told local media that limited resources coupled with financial constraints has affected the operation to monitor the Solomon waters. She adds the Foreign Fisheries Agency's surveillance centers are now assisting the ministry in monitoring the exclusive economic zones.
I think one of the biggest challenges is resource constraint when it comes to monitoring vast oceans like for us, Los Solomon Islands. We only have 2 patrol boats and we do not have source of funds, hand-to-hand constraint there, having limited resources and also financial limitations too, and affecting effective surveillance law, waters BUMI. So with the help of FFA RSF's regional surveillance centers, we are lucky to monitor our EEZ. So we have 4 operations within a year. So that is where we, FFA with a joint quad team comes in to help our to help fisheries, especially the ministry, to monitor our EEZ to identify IUU activities, illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing activities. So I think financial constraint and resource one of the biggest challenges for us, not only Solomon Islands but other developing small island developing states as well.
And that's news. Follow us on sibconline.com.sb and our SIBC News Facebook page for more of our latest stories. Thanks for watching.